Right. So, I want to talk about my journey as a teacher. Like I spoke about maybe the structure of education, spoke about uh, what someone can do at university, maybe what options are available, right? But then what I want to now narrow in on my experience. I want to narrow in on my experience as a teacher and what I have seen, what I've experienced, the journey I've been on, um, the specifics of that journey. And then there will be quite a lot of those things I want to highlight. But then what I want to start on is in this journey of mine as a teacher, I've been mostly a learner in this journey. And I'll say why. Okay, so starting off as a teacher here, that is in England, I didn't teach my subject, that is maths. I actually started teaching of science. So there was lots of learning in science. Okay, and then I'll talk about that maybe later on. Um, and then move on to the next school where I was a computer or computing teacher. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about the most in this video. So starting off as a computer or computing teacher, then I thought, okay, I have some background in this, so I've done some computer concepts before. So okay, these are learners in Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4. Um, I'll be able to teach those. Okay, with my knowledge in this subject, I can actually do that. You get to the actual teaching of it, then you find, okay, these are the lessons you are supposed to teach. Then you find that the pitch is a bit higher than maybe you expected. Now, see that, right? So then you get to really think about it. The advantage, of course, is that mostly the lessons are prepared, and then you can add in or whatever you want to add in. Maybe you can teach, or actually adapt it to the way maybe that you think is best suited to your style of teaching. Right. So you get to teach the Key Stage 3, that is talking about year 7, year 8, year 9. That is grade 7, form 1, form 2. Okay, 7, 8, 9. Right. So that is Key Stage 3. Then you get to understand that these learners have been doing these things for quite some time. Then I got to know that, okay, computing is started off, which is compulsory from Key Stage 1. That is from grade 1. Okay, grade 1, grade 2. They are already doing the algorithms. Okay, they're already doing the debugging. All those things, they actually have been introduced to that. Coding is part of them. Programming is part of them. They get to upper Key Stage 3. Sorry, upper primary school, which is Key Stage 2. They are they are continuing with that programming, block programming, Scratch, those things come in, and they use that. And then when they get to do those things at secondary school, they are Key Stage 3 now. It's something that is now already part of them. And then you are teaching those students who have been in that part of a system. And then you think, okay, when did you start doing these computer things? Okay, it was maybe later on, not not down there, grade 1, grade 2. It's something that maybe was later on. And I think about talking about programming, talking about coding, those things that they have been doing. So now you get to teach that Key Stage 3, that is year 7, 8, and 9. Then what I noticed there is, okay, that's Scratch programming, which is a programming in codes. Okay, that's a code programming, or in block, that's coding in blocks. So that is what they get to do, which will then introduce them to more complicated stuff as they go on. Then they will be having these robots that they will, okay, using this program, fit into these robots, and then, okay, make them move, something like that. So that is what they are already doing. Right. Then get to something that maybe I saw later on, HTML. They do it at year 8. That is form 1. That is already they are doing that HTML. CSS. They are already building some web pages. That's what they are actually doing at that stage. You talk about them getting to year 9, which is still in K stage 3. That's a form 2 student. They are they are doing data science. That's when it is introduced. Data science is introduced at that level. then you define it. Okay, those things. I started teaching those, actually learning those things later on, university, not secondary school. That was at university. That was um, later in life. But I'm teaching this to a Form 2. And then there is this data set they use. Okay, it's a free website where you can actually visit, and it's a highly interactive site. Gapminder. It's called the Gapminder. So if you go there, all the countries in the world, all the data about the countries in the world, talk about the education side, talk about the economy, everything, population, talk about GDP, talk about life expectancy, everything is there. And this is what they are introduced to. They get to know every country in the world about, in terms of those metrics that are given in that data set. One of the questions that was actually interesting to me was the question is was the question, where would you want to live? Which country would you want to live? To them, they are seeing the world, okay, and then viewing the countries as suitable for living in those countries based on the metrics given: life expectancy, criminal rate, and the crime rate. That is, the crime rate. They are talking about all those things like, okay, birth rates, population, and so they have to evaluate their choices of looking at those countries using that data set. It has all the data from 1800 to 2024. That is the Gapminder data. And then other thing they get to learn at that stage is Python. Okay, Python programming. They are taught at that stage. They get to learn Python programming. They are doing the coding, which they started off at primary school. They continue with that. Now they're doing, maybe they'll start on doing their loops. They are doing their if functions, the while loops, and everything else. So these are some of the concepts you get to maybe see it maybe later on at university or doing some other courses. I wasn't expecting that to teach that at that level. But anyway, it becomes more of learning and less of teaching. Of course, you get to learn those things. Now, when they get to Key Stage 4, which is Form 3, Form 4, or that's year 10 and year 11, then they get to choose. Okay, they choose subjects they want to do. Some will opt for other subjects that have nothing to do with computer science, because they will then do computer science. And depending, this one depends on the examination board that they will sit. So there are different exam boards. There is the Pearson Edexcel, there is the OCR, which is your Cambridge. Then you've got the WeCheck. I think this is more of Welsh. And then they've got the AQA. These are exam boards that are different, and they have specific requirements for their exams in those subjects. And also, it's the same with computer science. It will depend on the exam boards that they will sit the exams with. So um, that is for Key Stage 4. But then they get to choose. Those who will want to do computer science, they will go into much greater depth. Talk about the Java, talk about the C Sharp, talk about the Python, going into much detail about it, talk about the structured query language, all those things. This is a Form 4, this is a Form 3, Form 4 learner who is doing all that stuff. And you ask yourself, when did you learn about these things? And when, at what stage are they learning that? And then you look at the gap. What gap do we have? And when is this gap going to close? Is it something that is going to close anytime soon? Or this is going to widen as time goes on?